from abroad extremely difficult. So what do you have to say about this? So my question was, first of all, how the funding will be generated for this? And number two, is this for only the Canadians residing in Canada or for encouraging those coming from abroad as well?
Thank you, Shazia. Two important questions. I'll start with the funding aspect of it. We are doing this to attract private capital investment. And when I say this is sort of the launch of the Niagara strategy, there's already been a year and a half of work going on behind the scenes. We only got to the point where we could announce it on Monday. I'll give you an example of what I mean by private capital. On the current Ontario power generating, the Toronto power generating station, Pearl Hospitality Group has already successfully won a bid to develop a 5-star boutique hotel, the first in Niagara region. Now, that's not government money. That is all their money that they are investing, and it is nearly $300 million in investment, not just for the building, but for various infrastructure upgrades. And now let me explain why that's important. The Toronto power generating station sat on a prime piece of real estate in Niagara Falls, vacant for 50 years. And it cost the government $9 million a year to maintain. It's a beautiful building, except we're not generating power from it anymore. So the question was, what do we put in this building and how do we save some funds and at the same time provide a public service? That's why we went to the open market. And this is private money that will be fixing the power generating site and restoring it to a glory that's never been seen. The renderings are available online if you want to see what that's going to look like, but it's going to be stunning. This is exactly what we're doing with the marina. It's what we're doing with the Ontario power generating station as well. And it is the same case when we're looking for a theme park, when we're going out for a request for information. It's not government capital that will be invested to develop these sites. It will be private sector. The same goes for what the Premier mentioned on the gaming side of things. We are exploring options to enter more gaming operators into the market. Think your world-class casinos, as the Premier mentioned, your Bally's, your Hard Rock casinos, your Wynns. These are the types of institutions that bring in billions in capital for development. So the government side of things, of course, there will be costs down the road, but the idea is for the capital development, bring in the private sector, and then for infrastructure needs, for transportation needs, that's when the government will look at what types of funds are required, but predominantly will be a private sector-led fundraising effort. On the second question, such a hugely important question, in a word, no, this is not just for domestic travel. Niagara region, or the region itself, currently has about 13 million visitors a year, and it's mixed. A lot of Americans, a lot of international travel, but indeed, much of that is domestic travel. The idea is actually to open it up to more international travel. So there's a couple points that are important here. Number one, the Premier's been very vocal on an international airport in Niagara region. At the federal, provincial, territorial meetings, that is what I made our priority in Ontario to the federal tourism minister, as well as the deputy minister of transport federally, that we need this international airport. And I also know that the Premier will be meeting with the Prime Minister in the coming days. It is his intention to state that this international airport in Niagara is of top priority for Ontario. Once we have an international airport at the doorstep of Niagara Falls, we expect that to make the travel a lot easier instead of having a backlogged Pearson to go through with potentially a 3-hour drive in traffic to get to the region. This will open up more doors for that. The other idea is to promote travel worldwide. I was just in Japan and Korea a couple of months ago doing exactly that. And off the top, I mentioned that many places don't know where Toronto is, but they know where Niagara Falls is. That is absolutely the case in Tokyo, Osaka, and Seoul. Not everyone knew of Toronto. Everybody knew of Niagara Falls. How do we open up our market to them? Well, I think marketing is an important aspect of it. And you see that those efforts are already working. This year, Germany's revenue spent in Niagara year over year, according to the Niagara Parks Commission, is up 38%. France revenue is up 33% year over year. Japan, 28% year over year. South Korea is now the 5th largest visitor to Niagara region globally. This is not the case as it was a year ago, of course, with American travel remaining flat and dipping, frankly dipping. We need to expand those options. And the last point I'll make on this pretty long answer is on your visa difficulties. We're happy to work with you. I'm happy to pass that along to the immigration minister as well as the tourism minister. We need to make it easy for people to travel, and any difficulties that you and your family have, or the people you represent, or your listeners or viewers, we're happy to help with communication to the appropriate parts.
Thank you very much, Minister, for all the great answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaz.
All right, thank you. Next, I'm going to go to Rami at Oxygen.
First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity, and I really appreciate this kind of projects because I'm from Egyptian roots, so I value so much the touristic projects. My question to you is, are you intending, Minister, to market this area, Niagara Falls, into the Middle East? And how you do that? Would you include also cooperating with private sector in doing such marketing?
Yeah, absolutely willing to do that. We would love to open up new relationships with the private sector globally. I know Sharif Sabawi is a huge champion for the Egyptian community and represents very well your community. We'd love more visitors from Egypt. You know, I've never been, by the way, so feel free to invite me. I'm happy to go with or without Mr. Sabawi, but yeah, I hear it's beautiful. I hear it's also pretty hot in Egypt.
Yeah, now it's the weather is amazing, the best weather in the world, and you have to go to the Nile cruise. Definitely, I'm on the the Canadian Egyptian Business Council board member, so definitely we will send you an invitation soon.
Well, that'd be wonderful. And I think that reciprocal relationship is important to opening up new channels for travel. Egypt is beautiful. It has a lot to offer. But I think the people of Egypt would also like to see what Niagara region has to offer because they're very unique. They're very distinct. You know, this is another trend we learned at the federal, provincial, territorial meetings is that there's a growing sector of tourism called coolcations. And what that means is that people from hotter climates that never necessarily experience snow or ice or things like that, or get to witness Niagara Falls frozen. For those who haven't seen Niagara Falls frozen, it's one of the most beautiful views you're ever going to see. Imagine the majestic falls frozen in time with ice caps all around it. And you're able to actually get up close and personal. And you're almost looking at a giant iceberg that's been frozen in time. These are things that appeal to international visitors, especially from perhaps hotter climates where snow is not available in such abundance. We would love to explore the opportunity with African countries, with those in the Middle East that would be interested in seeing these opportunities because it's not as busy during the wintertime. And that was one of the priorities here at our ministry is not just to advertise Niagara region during the peak seasons, but to advertise it during the shoulder and off seasons. Of course, that would be fall, winter, and early spring. There's success of this. Niagara on the Lake has introduced Christmas programming, which has led December to be their second busiest month now after July, which is a testament to the success, with many of those visitors actually being international visitors. So I would love to explore those opportunities, whether it's through marketing or reciprocal relationships. But I'll rely on you to send me the network for that, and I'll certainly have a chat with MPP Sabawi as well.
Sure, definitely. So would you like to connect with you through channel or your office?
Please.
Yes, I will do that soon. Okay. Thank you very much. And this is very encouraging, Minister. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, I'm going to go to Jagdish with Punjabi Post. Jagdish, are you there? Okay, he just typed a question. He said, expanding QEW is much needed to go to Niagara. What are the plans for that? Will there be any ferry going from Toronto to Niagara? That was
Tasvika Jadish, bold badia question. I think you brought up something hugely important, and it's I'm glad that we have a Punjabi transportation minister as well who agrees with what you just said. It's why we're twinning the QEW. It's why we're also doubling the 406 and expanding that highway into Niagara Falls. but I'll be the first to admit that's not going to be enough. The Greater Golden Horseshoe, which we all live in, represents in Canada's landmass 0.26% of our landmass. It's a tiny little piece of Canada. But in that tiny little piece of Canada, it contains 27% of our country's population. So it's very dense and it's growing a lot. And we're trying to attract 25 million visitors to the Niagara region every single year. And if you do the math, that means that it's going to be extremely busy, and the road expansions, well, they may not be enough to contain that volume and get people around efficiently. So we need to look at all avenues. That's why we're looking at the international airport direct into Niagara region. It's also why we're exploring waterways as a mode of transportation. We are looking and exploring options like ferries, like hovercrafts. Those discussions are currently underway. We're also we've doubled GO train service to Niagara, and that means that when we look at Niagara, we have to actually look at the transit options once you've got to Niagara Falls through that mode of transportation. We're doing that as well. So it's an all hands on deck approach. We're looking at every viable option to get people to the region, whether it's from the big city of Toronto or internationally. Great question, and I'm happy to follow up with you on our progress.
Okay, perfect. Next I'm going to go to Anthony with Caribbean Camera.
Hi, this is Anthony. What I'd like to find out is if there would be any possibility of getting some sort of an international food market in that area once you are getting people into there, because like we serve communities that have a lot of food to offer to the greater community. We find that when we go down to Niagara Falls, a lot of the food down there is American, and it's, well, some Canadian, but I think to have a more variety would be a real bonus for that area, as well as do you plan on bringing any other foot attractions to there, meaning like events that would include a lot of people coming, like a taste of Niagara or something like that, where we could get masses of people getting into the region. Thank you.
Anthony, it's a great idea. You just made me hungry, frankly speaking. Look, I'm of South Korean descent. One of the best things about our city here in Toronto is that you can walk down the street, get the best Korean food next to the best Jamaican food, next to the best butter chicken, next to the best souvlaki you're ever going to eat. We're very fortunate for that. And you look at our Michelin guide, our Michelin stars, we're the only country that I can think of that has 16 different ethnicities represented in that guide, right? That's the world in one neighborhood, and we're very fortunate to have that. Well, why isn't it in Niagara Falls? I don't know. I can't answer that question yet, but it should be. And when you're talking about an internet or some sort of a food festival, that's something our government would support, right? We do have streams through Experience Ontario that would provide grants for programs like that. The government, of course, wouldn't run the program itself, but you might be onto something here, Anthony. Maybe there's somebody at Jerkfest, or maybe there's another organization at the Taste of the Danforth that you could communicate with, maybe to get it started. But it would be something that the government would love to see in Niagara region. It's got some of the richest soils on the planet, some of the best fruits and vegetables growing there, some best wines and craft beer you're ever going to find. So where is the ethnic food? I'm with you. I would love to see it. Let me know if you need, sort of assistance being connected to the right grant programs in those channels, or if you would like to be connected with some of the organizations who are successfully running those types of festivals in the GTA. Love the idea.
All right. Next, I'm going to go to Bill with Greca TV.
Gain press annual exposure
You're a little choppy there.
Reception.
Yeah. Bill, we're not able to catch that.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
A little bit, yeah. Why don't we try it? Bill, you're muted now.
Yeah, Bill, we're not able to hear you. You're not on.
You're unmuted now if you want to try. Oh, muted again.
Can you maybe type his question?
Okay, maybe
Yeah,
we'll
go
just
ahead,
we'll go to Khalid Salama and go to his question, and then maybe we can try back with Bill.
Thank you. Minister, are you including the marine land in the development? This is one of the points. And if I may, also parking is a huge issue in the Niagara area. Do you or are you considering this in the developments? Besides, it's not only the spots, it's the affordability. Besides, also the facilities. From to, there are not enough shuttles, especially when it is winter or a little bit cool or whatever. Besides, to tap on Shazier's point and the other colleague about QW expansion. We have tons of local airports. Why don't we include this in the development? Besides, we have to put an eye on the price as well. So instead of making only local flights by choppers and whatever, why don't we include that? Besides, the hovercraft we've been hearing about for ages right now, and still we are not moving. I know there are lots of points, but please let me know if you need me to remind you again. Thank you.
Well, I thank you, Khaled. I've been writing them down, so I'll work backwards here and let me know if I forgot anything. So on the hovercraft, yes, this discussion has been around for decades. If I'm going to be frank with you, it's been widely discussed. It's been kind of frustrating because we have one of the largest bodies of water here. I mean, did you know Ontario contains 20% of the world's fresh water, and we're not using any of it to move people around, right? And there is precedence globally of success using the waterways, especially in congested cities. I mean, I'll mention London, England, for an example. They're using transportation modes on the Thames. So we've sort of behind the ball on when it comes to using our water. So the good news is we're more advanced in the discussions now of using our waterways than we ever have been. I'll give you two evidence points for that. Number one, you now see, and you may see it if you catch it at the right time in Toronto, but there are international cruise ships now going through our Great Lakes, and they're big ones. Great Lakes Cruises, Viking, I think, has a line that's going through. This is very new development in the last couple of years, in fact, that they're actually starting to use our waterways for big international tourism. And when I say big, these aren't cheap cruises. They're appealing to $25,000 a week type of programming, which means you have bringing in affluent internationals who are spending money here and driving our economy. The other point I'll make to the hovercraft is it is now further along than it's ever been. They've actually signed an agreement with Billy Bishop Airport to have that location as their docking point in Toronto. Where the holdup is, there's two pieces that are holding it back. Number one is the tariff war. The tariff war has led to a difficulty in procuring the required parts to build the hovercraft. Many of these parts are now tariffed. The costs have escalated significantly. Many of them come from the United States. The supply chain has been disrupted. It's much more expensive. That was not in the original developers' pro forma when they were coming out with their plans. So that has frustrated the process a little bit. The final point on the hovercraft is that there is a capital ask on the other side of the docking side, which involves the federal government as well. So there's a couple moving pieces to get once Toronto set, but when you go towards Niagara region, The question becomes, where is it going to disembark? And that has been sort of the holdup there. But those discussions, Khaled, are ongoing. And as I said, they're further than they've ever been along, and we're going to continue going ahead. And as soon as we have an update for that, well, you'll see the Premier at the podium again. Moving to a couple other pieces that you brought up, there was the issue of parking. I agree. Parking in the core can be expensive. What many don't know about Niagara Falls is, when you've seen it yourself, Clifton Hill is quite a compact geographical area, the tourist district where you have the Ferris wheel, you have the go-karts, and some of the fun houses, museums, and things like that. And on the other side, separated by about 1.5 kilometers or a kilometer, you have the Fallsview side, which is also one strip essentially of restaurants, hotels, the casino, and some of the other entertainment venues that you have in the Falls. There is not really something connecting these two areas. And so in the wintertime, they operate very much in silos, where you're either here or you're here. And unless you drive, you're not going to be walking in between or anything. It's why the government introduced, well, on Monday, we announced the Niagara River line, or the line, which will connect these through a transit pod. And those renderings, we're happy to send you. I'm not sure if we have any extras in these, but we'll try and get you some documentation that actually will explain that to you. But we actually have a successful proponent now that is going to be introducing this line as a means of connecting these areas, which would eliminate the need, because I know, Khaled, myself, having done this, when you go there and you drive and you want to see the falls, you pay to park. Then you want to go eat, you pay to park. Then you want to go to the go-karts, you pay to park. Then you want to go to the casino, you pay to park. It gets very, very expensive. So with the new transit line, what you can do is you can park off-site in maybe one of the discount lots. There's as low as $10 I've seen. Then you can hop on the transit line, which operates as an attraction itself. It's beautiful, and you get scenic views of Niagara Falls, and you're able to navigate between the various amenities very easily and very much more affordably. The other thing that I think will happen with our announcements of attractions and other hotel options coming is that when you see capital injected into the region, you will have smaller operators do the same. We're not just looking for the $2 billion investments. We're not just looking for the $300 million investments. They're great. But what we'll find is when these big guys show up, the little guys are going to show up too. We see it all the time, right? When Walmart builds a place or Costco builds a place in Toronto, you start to see, a diner show up next door. You see a shawarma place show up down the street because there's traffic around the area to drive that. We expect that to happen as well, because much of the land around Fallsview and Clifton Hill has not been developed because there has been no incentive for the landowner to do it. And so what I think we'll see is the capitalization of the area what's the word I'm looking for? Naturally occur once this capital starts to appear. Your other point about marine land. Now, marine land I'm with you. It's on some of the best land in Niagara Falls. 800 acres, well-positioned, beautiful views, ample parking, the space to accommodate a massive theme park. The problem is, it's not our land. It is in the hands of a private owner. I'm not sure what the status of that is. Now, it's something that we'd explore if it was available for purchase. Maybe, but right now it's tied up in private sale. So we really have very few tools to be able to address it. But if you hear otherwise, let us know, because I agree it's one of the best pieces of land in Niagara Falls. Did I miss anything?
Sorry, you're not missed, but I have to remind you about the possibility of including the tons of local airports.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
So great point. I mean, we looked at that as well. The Premier really wants an international airport. We looked at every single airport. We looked at Hamilton Airport of maybe, expanding the roads to the backside there. The problem with the international airport is you have certain runway and land requirements, and you need approval from the federal government. There is really very few suitable options on the regional airport side that could accommodate it outside of the one that we've located in Niagara-on-the-Lake. So the one we're looking at Niagara-on-the-Lake, which is currently not an international airport, requires an extension of the runway of 3,000 feet. We've already done the studies and the feasibility for this, And all of the local mayors are on board supporting this Niagara-on-the-Lake Airport to be the site of Niagara International Airport. We have spoken to the federal tourism minister and the deputy minister of transport, and the premier will be meeting with the prime minister over the holidays and presenting this option as our #1 priority when it comes to Ontario in the tourism sector. So it's underway. It was in our budget. What we're hoping for is for Ottawa to expedite the approvals process, but this has been determined to be the most suitable site out of all the regional options.
Thank you, Minister.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's go back to Bill and let's see if it works.
Okay, can you hear me?
You're
Hello?
still choppy,
Hello?
Bill.
Okay, then I'll forget it because I got very bad connection. Can
We
you
can hear you
hear me
now.
at all?
Maybe, Bill, sometimes
Okay,
we'll turn off your camera and sometimes the connection speeds up.
Okay, can you hear
There we
me
go.
better now?
Way better.
Okay, Minister, good to see you again, and thank you for attending the National Press Council Christmas event. And as you know, Greece has a great tourism program and is the #1 industry. Do you have any plans of getting together with your colleagues in the different countries of a mutual understanding and exchange programs that can coordinate this great idea, Destination Niagara? It's a great idea that will help the local economy and Ontario's economy. Despite the criticism from some opposition that the casino development will expand the convenience of more gambling and perhaps attract more crime. But the main thing, I don't want to spoil this great idea. Are you thinking of getting in touch with the different colleagues of the different countries that specialize in tourism to advance this great idea?
Thank you, Bill. Afaristo. I think it's a fantastic idea. I would love to, but might need your help with that. Outside of Effie Triantafilopoulos, I don't have many insights into what tourism organizations in Greece we'd be willing to partner with, but always open to those types of options.
Love to help you.
I would graciously accept your assistance with that. I mean, we do it. We were just in Japan and Korea with the efforts of Destination Canada and Destination Ontario, our local agencies, which connected us with the various organizations overseas. There is absolutely no good reason why we wouldn't do this with the fine people of the Greek community and in Greece as well. So I would love your help to do that. And that invitation is open to all of my colleagues on this line. We are a truly international city. Niagara should be enjoyed by everyone around the world. And if we're going to go from 13 million visitors a year to 25 million, that means we need to open it up even more globally. And that's something I'm absolutely committed to, and it's very much in line with our Destination Niagara strategy. Thank you, Bill. I'm on board.
Okay, and that was the last question that I had. So Minister, if you just had any final closing words, and then we can wrap up for the afternoon.
Thank you, Shannon. I want to thank Shannon for coordinating this. It's really hard to get a lot of media in the same room. And I do want to say a personal note before I conclude about Niagara strategy is that I love when we get to do this type of an event with the ethnic media. I'm just going to be blunt and tell you what the Premier says all the time. He likes you guys better than the big guys. It's 100% true. You reach the communities way better. Look, I grew up in Rexdale, and I'm the proud son of South Korean immigrants who relied on cultural media to get their information, connect with their community, and it has very impactful reach within your respective communities. So I value very much what you do and appreciate that. And my offer to you is let's keep a very close relationship together as we progress through this Niagara strategy. Monday was just the launch of it. It was just the original first announcement saying, here we are. The work, as I said, has been ongoing for a year and a half, and it won't be the last that we will have. There will be more announcements coming in the new year as things develop. There are other pieces to the strategy we haven't announced yet either. It is a very big plan. And again, the intent is to protect and grow tourism in Niagara region. And we are so well situated to do that. I can't think of too many other places around the world where I can have these types of conversations with these communities in one room, and we get to live in a city where we all get along and respect each other's cultures and benefit from it. So I want to thank you for that. Niagara Strategy is an embodiment of what we represent here in Canada and on this call. And I value it. I'm proud of it. And I'm sure you all are too. So thank you so much for your time, and don't be a stranger.
All right. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.